Good evening, viewers, and welcome to Calypso Showcase. And now to our special guest for tonight. He is the explainer. You knew him in the early years as the messenger. Winston Henry, a man with an enviable record. From 1977 to 1984, he made it to the finals of the Dimanche Gras every year. I don't think there's another calypsonian that can boast of that. Winston Henry, the explainer, welcome to Calypso Showcase.
Yeah, happy to be here, Alvin.
And what have you been doing for 1992 since Carnival?
Well, since Carnival 1992, all I'm doing is trying to prepare myself for 1993 because I was a bit late this year with my recording. So I'm trying to get my thing together very early. So I'm here for a while. I'll be away for a couple of weeks in the next month or two.
Where are you going to be traveling?
I'll go through the Caribbean and then emptying into New York. I'll be back in about 2 months' time. That is from next month, the 12th.
Well, we want to take a look at your life tonight, your Calypso life, that is. And I know a lot of people might have forgotten some of those golden years of the explainer.
Quite so.
So we're going to take them down memory lane now as we look at the life and times in Calypso of Winston Henry, the explainer. Yeah, Winston Henry, the explainer. So good to come down to your home here in Coooyea Village and chat with you.
Well, I feel fine, Alvin, to see you reach here, and you reach here very much on time, and you reach here with enthusiasm to make sure that this thing comes out right.
Okay. Well, I want to start at a place where you might not expect, because my first recollection of you, when I started to look at you work on a stage, and I was impressed, was you working at the Penthouse. And I want to find out, first of all, if that's where your Calypso career started.
Well, not really. My Calypso career went a little further back than that. But Penthouse was a sort of budding ground for me. Short used to sing there, and they wanted a resident singer. So he told them it's better they could take a young singer who could develop, you know, and be able to work in the nightclub scene, because there's very few calypsonians who could really work nightclub. So then he asked me, why don't I come and take the job? And I took the job, and I worked there for 5 years, and I've learned a lot of things there, which assisted me in my career.
Well, watching you work over the years, because it's one of the places I used to frequent, I remember coming to the conclusion one night that this guy could actually become a calypsonian, because you were singing other people's calypsos, you were doing a little extempo and a little, you know, bamboo and those sort of things, but you always had a way you captivated an audience. I think this is one of the things that stood out about you. Tell us a little bit more about those years.
Well, those years were the years you're coming up and you want to really be known, eh? So you're fighting and you're trying all different things. You know, I used to sing people's songs, hit calypsos. I mostly stuck to my calypsos. Well, due to the nightclub circuit, you had to learn a little Yellow Bird and all this kind of stuff. So I used to do that too. But I always stay with my authentic calypso, which I love very much, because I love calypso since I was in school.
So let us talk then about your early careers and your early interface with Calypso. What started it all?
Well, as you know, most young guys in my days, in my age bracket, around 21 or 25 years ago, would tell you that they had emulated Sparrow. Because being a Trinidadian, Calypso must be in your veins, and then catching on to Calypso, I emulated Sparrow. And I wanted to be a Calypso, and see them sing. My uncle used to come into the tents, and I see them perform and things, and I figured being a Calypso was a good thing, and I feel that's my music. So I actually started hang out with Valentino. He has a lot to do with my coming into Calypso and the beginning of my career. Valentino is one of the guys. There are a couple more who I must make mention of, people like Brother Superior, Prowler, and even Realtor. These guys were very, very, very instrumental in my career.
Well, I remember you singing at an Nafita Awards competition, a verse of Life is a Stage, was it?
Yeah, I did a part of Life is a Stage with Valentino. He asked me to come and sing a verse with him, and it's a song I used to do in the Penthouse also. I'd always loved that song.
What was the first Calypso that you actually sung in a Calypso tent, and what year was that?
It was 1970. Kitchener's Calypso Review. I sang the thoughts of the inventors.
Could you remember any part of that at all?
Well, it was basically like this, huh? It's very difficult for us to sing without instruments, but I could just roll a couple lines. It was like this: bet any big brain or foolish man that his thoughts were the cause of most inventions, because sometimes I sit down and study things that men created in history. And no explainer will like to relate, something like that. I can't even remember too good, but it was really basically the man who made the song, he thought about singing. The man who made the dance, he thought about dancing. The man who make a book, he thought about reading.
Now, we want to talk about the start of that era, 1977, and tell us the tunes that you sang in 1977 that took you all the way to the finals.
Well, Alvin, it was that 1977, it was Once You're Black Is My Brother Man. And the partner to that was Charity Begins at Home, which took me all the way to the finals.
But 78, I think, is when you really started to make the impact on the Trinidad public. A Calypso, We Smart. Now, this Calypso, I think, started to make people sit up and look at the calypsonian explainer and say, hey, this guy has something to offer.
Well, really, that was very, very popular too. You Think You're Smart. But the tune that was really popular was A Message from My Show. It was a nice swing tune written by Merchant, and it had that pan beat and everything in it, and party spirit. It went down well on pan. It was not in the panorama, but it went on well on the streets of Pan. That one was sort of what created the emergence in 1978.
My Trinidadians daily always does amaze me. They boast from the bottom of their heart, telling the whole wide world how we smart. This statement we just be making, I declare, is rather misleading. For the things that I see Trinidadians do, I would like to know if we smart for true. We hate calypsos and we hate pan, and that's we cultural weapon, and we smart. Yes, we smart. We want to change the government, yet election time. Before we vote, we go on Caranach to Lime. And we smart.
You know what I mean?
Yes, we smart. We discarding we own Trinidadian slang to preach Yankee and Jamaican. And we smart.
I want to tell you.
Yes, we smart. Hey!
You earned the title of The Messenger, probably in 79.
79, I was dubbed the messenger because of Them With Dread and In Parliament Kicks In. Now, that record was very, very, very popular. At least 4 tracks and it was a hit, because they had Sunday Night Fever on the same record.
It's Mass. Yes, it's Sunday night again. And Carnival Fever gone in everybody's brain. It's Mass and excitement for soul. We going to parties, want to see the March Grass show. Masqueraders, the banditas, the rebels, everybody tight. They were tight. And the judges bearing grudges, I say that they're doing it for spite. That's it right. We're going on heights to party all night. We're drinking, smoking the thing.
The whole area and the whole Calypso atmosphere was taken up with Them With Dread, a sort of Calypso reggae beat, which really had created a certain amount of uniqueness in the Calypso arena. And I had a very beautiful season.
No part of this country's constitution tell you how to look and what to get. We must treat the rastas like they are human, regardless to how they keep their But whilst we scorn the rasta, Jim Jones killing people in Guyana. But what we must say instead, in her plenty like Jones is red, 'cause he messing with the dead. Yes, 'cause he trying to try lots with the eyes in the gunshots. We are saying la 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 la.
How much input did you have in the composition of those two tunes?
Well, actually, they were my compositions. Demo Dread and In Parliament Kicks In. Demo Dread and In Parliament Kicks In were tunes that was composed in a matter of about hour time. No big set of thought because it was the swing and the beat were there and I was just playing around with the beats. And actually they came in a short space of time, no very, very big thought. And they went down very fine.
In Parliament Kicks In, everybody! In Parliament Kicks In, in Parliament Kicks In. I think the government in this country should treat the people more seriously when they have their parliament meeting. Something constructive should be happening. I visit them one evening in the parliament meeting. What I see happening? Like these people high off a poking. Why is the speaker speaking? Eric with a newspaper reading. They want to stop old people from driving. Can't turn on say joke and make it. I listen all the time. Doing everybody fine. Oh, la, 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 la.
But let's go to 1980, the following year.
Well, the following year, I had a table turning, sir, round and round. And Not Me and the Monarchy, which was also popular too. They were both popular.
Let's talk about the table turning, sir, because I think this was in the vein of your title of The Messenger, because, you know, the political thing with a nice melody behind it.
Yeah, it was international, or is an international topic that look at all the various leaders throughout the world, the ones who we were made to know as tyrant-minded, what came about their demise and all these type of things. And I was showing how so many were falling that year. They had the Shah of Iran, they had Bokassa, and all these guys that were going down. So I was warning the local leaders that the table is turning around. So don't get caught up with it.
The way the world is going on, all who up start to fall back down. This might sound like fallacy. 79 proved this to me. I'm sure you remember the fall of many world leaders, rulers of oppression, overthrown by the oppressed man. Table turning, sir,
Round and round,
all them oppressor,
falling down.
table turning, sir.
Round and round,
Now the oppressor
is the oppressed one.
round and round,
Falling down.
and they falling down,
Round and round,
round and round,
falling down.
and they falling down.
Round and round.
Now, Not Me and the Monarchy, controversial tune. I think it was a reaction to the fact that you felt you should have done better the year before. With the tunes you had, you were doing well in the tent, and you came up with this tune, Not Me and the Monarchy, which also was, I think, something talking about the scouting for talent, the prize money. Tell us about the Not Me and the Monarchy.
Some people misinterpret the whole basic of the song, but Not Me and the Monarchy meant that I find that when a guy win the title of monarch, they used to give him something like $2,000 or $3,000. But I find that was so small for a creative person and a cultural ambassador. And I would look at the scouting for talent winner. You get a car valued some kind of 40-something thousand, 50-something thousand. So I say, what is the sense being a Calypso monarch and you can't even do something? Get a prize or reward where at least you could put a little topping on your lifestyle or your domestic situation. And this was a little debate within the season. until Sisson Spain picked it up. And they brought the Calypso Monarch prize to $24,000, which I find from 3,000 to 24 was a lot, and it was good. And I was in the savannah that night.
Every day people telling me I throw away the monarchy, the wrong song. I choose to sing, that's how Stalin come to win. I said, don't be angry, that crown means nothing to me. That is a crown of thorns, it kills the calypsonian. I tell them, that is the problem. Why be a monarchy and live in a shanty? Not me and the monarchy, not me. You see scouting with holiday, value more than the monarchy.
Not me and the monarchy, not me.
I know the king of Calypso, treated like a baby show. Oh no!
Yeah, well, this is why some people misunderstood. When you said, yes, me and the monarchy, they say, hey, he's selling out.
Well, you see, the people who believe so never studied the song, what I was saying. I was saying, if I have to go to put all that effort to win $3,000, not me and the monarchy, but it was $24,000 on the night. And I sang a whole verse in it. I said, now they raise the prize money. It's me and the monarchy.
You might say I'm a waste because I'm still in the race. And I know what you're thinking if I expect to win. Since I sing the monarchy, they raise up the prize money. Whosoever win tonight is my song will make things right. So listen, here's the reason. I won't trust nobody, neither Sue CDC. Yes, me and the monarchy, yes, me. Since they raise the prize money, it's high court for CDC. Yes, me and the monarchy, yes, me. I know that was long ago. Calypso was party show. Oh no, no more, no more, no more. Yes, me and the monarchy, yes, me. Yes, me and the monarchy, yes, me.
All right, so the public said, where will Explainer go from not me and the monarchy? And let's talk about the year after that.
Well, the year after that was Ras Mass. It's a high mass. I pictured the Rastafarians having their own carnival band and thing. And that is one of my greats, one of my classics, as people say, because your classics is the people make them, and it is dubbed one of my classics.
Well, I want to endorse that. It is one of your classics. And I think what is nice about it is that it's a fantasy type calypso, and yet it has an underlying message in it. And I think it caught the fancy of everyone. The music is good, and your way of putting it overall.
Yeah, it related to the lifestyle of a people and a culture. And I was doing it in a vein with their type of music and their rhythm, and just expressing what they would do on or in a carnival band.
For 81, big procession for the chorus of a Rasta man. All Rasta brothers and the daughters will be on the heavy manner. No vulgarity in the band. Everyone chanting hand in hand, and they're singing Ras Mass is a high mass. It's real fast, we play with Jaja. No vanity, neither no whiskey. Just feel free, everybody happy. Hey!
So we come to 1992, the year of Lorraine. And if a man who went in the savannah that everyone would have placed the odds-on as the odds-on favorite, I think it was you that year with Lorraine.
Yeah, I was the odds-on, the beaten favorite. Yeah, Skrunta beat me that night. Skrunta and Kitchener, in fact. And Lorraine, I thought I'd have won that year. It's the only time I've believed to myself that I had one of the 90% chances of winning. I felt I had a pair of good songs that nobody else in the competition had. I had Lorraine, And if you're true, I'm going to follow you. But somehow or the other, with that added punch from Kitchener, Shkanta pulled it off. And I really never argued it because it was very, very popular night.
Lorraine, you better wake up. I need a jet plane to take me non-stop. I can't stay in New York City when there's sunshine and pan in my country. Lions is the place with the jamming, with Cali and Charlie's roots clashing. Everyone happy partying, and I'm freezing in Brooklyn. Darling, Lorraine, don't cry, I'm leaving. I can't miss this jamming with all them steel band beating and no man background shaking. If the bug bites you, baby, then you could come and join me in psychedelic steel band, jamming with some man, woman. Lang lang dum dum, lang lang ding ding, lang lang dum dum. Babe, my mind is made up. Airport Kennedy would be my next stop. Don't cry and try to convince me, cause my suitcase done pack already. And if you start feeling lonely and mass fever vibrating your body, just make a quick reservation and touch down in the land of steel band. Woman, Lorraine, don't cry, I'm leaving. I can't miss this jamming with all them steel band beating and woman background shaking. If the bug bites you, baby, then you must come and join me in psychedelic steel band, jamming with some man, woman. Lorraine, don't cry, I'm leaving. I can't miss this jamming with all them steel band beating and woman background shaking. If the bug bites you, baby, then you must come and join me in psychedelic steel band, jamming with some man, woman. All stars, all stars, all stars, all stars, yeah. There's bars, there's bars, there's bars, there's bars. All stars, don't cry, I leave it. All stars, all stars, there's bars. Don't cry, I leave it. There's bars, there's bars.
Now the other tune, If We Through Chambers, which had to do with the fact that it was an election year, the doc had died a couple of years, the year before. Chambers had taken over as the new prime minister, and you were giving him your feelings.
Yeah, I tell them an open word to you. I know your job hard, but always remember, you understand? Come down and meet the poor and the humble. Keep them in sight anytime they grumble. And take up your role as a disciplinarian and use the sword on the evil called corruption. And if you're true, I would follow you.
An open word to our Prime Minister. Your job is hard, but I want you to remember. Come down from your height, meet the poor, meet the humble. Keep them inside anytime they may grumble. Take up your role as disciplinarian and use the sword on the evil called corruption. If you're true, we go follow you. Chambers, if you're true, we go follow you. Georgie, if you're true, we go love you too. Please, treat the nation as you ought to. Tell them.
Okay, so the following year, back in the Savannah again. Tell us about 1983.
Well, it was another one of those years again where we had the heroes. I had the heroes. They don't treat a hero the way we treat a hero, because I look around and notice that Trinidadians never really emulated heroes. And there's in a lot of cases where I listened to people trying to pull them down, and I was just talking to those people and telling them that you don't treat a hero like that. Because I was in St. Thomas a year and I saw Emil Griffith came back to St. Thomas, and he was a beaten boxer. He was a guy who had turned alcoholic, but yet still I could have seen the whole nation coming out in a motorcade for Emil Griffith. I think this is the attitude that we Trinidadians should adopt to our heroes.
What is most significant about the sentiments that you expressed in that song is that there were in fact people trying to pull you down that same year by alluding to the fact that there was a similarity in the melody of your calypso to a pop song. However, the public loved the calypso. I think this is what was important. And if I remember the semi-finals, because that was a true test when you went south.
Yeah, there were a lot of people within the calypso arena who said that the song had a melody like onto a pop song, which really there is a similarity. But I think to myself that those people were really not looking into what I was trying to say and trying to get across, and were just trying to look at something to retard the progress of the message. But the whole thing, the public didn't really take them on. They were on the tune because I remember when I was about to go on stage in the semifinals, I was told by one of the CDC officials, explainer, we love you, but you will hinder your chances because you're going to lose points for melody, which was quite true. But I tell them, I'll risk it. I'll risk the melody and the chance of winning for the chance of getting this message over.
Trinidad has radiance, Trinidad is nice. When it comes to the heroes, we got to think twice. We got to learn how to bridge the gap, because there are people make us powerful on the map. Hey, the way we treat we heroes with scorn, and also wish they were never born. In other countries I realize their heroes are the ones whom they idolize. Jamaica bury the late Bob Marley, they sing praise to their hero. But in my country we deliberately push the heroes below. Then we admire foreign culture, we treat no one so low. We ought to know we shouldn't treat our heroes so. No, 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 no. We shouldn't treat our heroes so. No, 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 no. We shouldn't treat our heroes so.
Now let's talk about the other tune, the Rasta Chick. I think that's the official name of it.
Well, it is similar to Enough Respect and what we call Topic Wise, that was sung by David Rudder. It was really telling you about a man meeting a woman in a party and want to make a move. And his move is trying to get to dance with her and she was saying, listen, don't touch my rasta. She was a rasta. A man tried to touch her hair, your hand too fast. Leave my rasta. She wanted you to respect her as a black woman. You understand? And if you do have to make a move, make a respectable one.
In a party one Saturday night, met this Rasta sister looking tight, dressed in khaki and she looked swanky. I decided, well I must rap to she. I said greetings. She said, hey Lyria, let's burn something. She told me one love vibe, so got jamming. But we are red. Then I made a mistake, cause she lost. Don't touch me ass, don't feel me ass. Your hand fast, this around me car.
I want to ask a question because I think to a lot of people who always saw you as one of the big guns of the late 70s and the early 80s, when they look at the period between 84 and 90, they said, well, something is happening to explain why he's not in the limelight anymore. Can you shed some light in that area?
Alvin, it's simply this. It comes just like American music. You hear of Michael Jackson for a period of time, and years after you don't hear about him. Lionel Richie, Tom Jones. These guys are still active. They're still performing. We may not know about them, but they may not be putting out records that may probably... They put out records sometimes, and they don't make the type of hit that they used to before. Life is a roller coaster. Nobody stays on top forever. And there's going to be other people who are coming around and create an interest, and they become unique to the public because they're new. And the people find interest in them. It's not because that you're not good anymore, but we find someone who's young, bright, new, and interesting. And we center ourselves towards them. That creates the roller coaster in life and show business. But Explainer is here, and he's still composing. He's still recording. Every year I've never stopped recording, and my music is there.
That's a fact. You've never stopped recording. There's always an Explainer LP out there. One of the tunes that didn't do quite well during the Carnival season, but suddenly picked up during the week of Carnival and was a big tune for you that year was His Horse, for example.
Definitely. Still, they played every Derby Day. The week before Derby Day, there's a certain amount of enthusiasm with horse, so they get that calypso to align with the horse situation, which is one of my hobbies.
On Charlotte Street. I have a horse in the second race. I must win. Diggity, diggity. She husband Tim with the money wasting in English racing. Buying books from White in London, checking the horse information. He know his colt and who is filly, who will win the Oaks and win the Derby. This English racing have him like a fool, throwing away all the bread in the pool. But Monday morning, his horse. In the evening, lost. Evening races, horse. Double losses. Man, I want a divorce. Better get married to a horse. Yes, I want a divorce. Monday to Sunday you playing horse. Diggity, 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 diggity.
The other tune that stands out in my mind in the period which people might think of as a slump is 1989, a calypso called Calypso. A calypso which won you a 1989 Top 20 award from NJAC.
I think after Lorraine, it's one of the songs that touches me most when I perform them. It tells about the life of the calypsonian. And the amount he puts out and the very little rewards he gets. It may not seem so to most people, but we rarely live a hard life, and it's a hard struggle keeping this business alive.
Yes, it's the greatest honor just to be a calypsonian. But let me tell you, brother, the pressure that we does endure. We got to bust women daily to make a melody, to keep people dancing and happy. People of my nation, they love competition. Keep the Calypso man in a state of depression. Calypso, whoa, 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 Calypso, whoa, whoa, whoa. One man and enjoy success, and you hardly care about the rest. Calypso, whoa, 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 Calypso, whoa, whoa, whoa. It's too much demand on the calypsonian, but for the love of the culture, I enjoy the slave master climbing on me knee and sapping the energy. It's hard, I tell you it's hard. It is too hard to sing calypso in Trinidad. Whoa.
I think if you had to describe the explainer, the messenger, you'd have to call you the uncrowned king. That was probably the most fitting title that you won,
Well,
or shared.
well, I thank you very much because I would accept that title because I think every man is a king in his own right, regardless of what he's doing, and whether he's crowned or he's dubbed or whatever. But I really appreciate that title, the uncrowned king.
Explainer, I want to thank you for making the show such an interesting one. I want to wish you all the best for the rest of 92 and for 1983.
I want to thank you too and your crew for this wonderful effort, and keep it coming. Don't sit on the sofa.
Thank you.
All the best to you, Alvin, and the crew.
Have a pleasant night. Be viewing next week on Calypso Showcase.
If you think about people and some things they like to say, you might end up in big trouble and will never ever reach your way. But if you keep on pushing, you might hear talks of every kind. But if sky is your limit, friend, then no talk can blow your mind. When they say, do things your way, act like you ain't here, will make your conscience clear. When they say, tell them blow away, regardless what you do, they will still pound you. When they say, when they say, when they say, frustration, killing we, and corruption is the style in this country. No place to live, no alternative, and still my country have but one thing to give. His promises from the past decade, and the politicians appear like a masquerade. The country sick, you better try and do something quick, because life ain't easy. The country where the country tread, it's sending you out to bed, because people hungry. You can't get water, you can't get light, nothing working right, and still we lending money. Panorama Day, take a walk from the savannah. If you see this play coming from them fan beaters, fan beating, fan singing, and inspired feeling. The song coming from the drum is a vibration coming from the band. Lu die 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 die, lu do do die die, laga die die, lu die die, lai die die do die. You say the wicked will perish, and one day the righteous will flourish. Jah, you see what's going on, the righteous facing suppression. They say people for your kingdom, but now the corrupt one by one. Them dictators, burn them Jah, in the fire burn them. Bubble rollers, burn them Jah, in the fire burn them. All kidnappers, burn them Jah, in the fire burn them. Them homemongers, burn them Jah, in the fire burn them. In the burn them all by day. I go
just to reach the top. There are certain things that you must have done to be big in any area. You must first have a very good godfather, not being a collegiate, neither the certificate could make you progress at a fast rate. Neither the things you do, what I'm saying is true. It's not who you know, but it's who know you. If you go your way, you must pull a string. To get a visa, you must pull a string. If you want to walk, you must pull a string. It's not only luck, you must pull a string. All right. To the bridge, to the bridge. Life is vibration, putting wrong direction. My friends, it decides your fate. Just one flimsy action sends up bad reaction because of the very cause you create. Because you create.